Baker last night also confirming he will be having shoulder surgery in the offseason. So, Mina, let's start with you here. Who deserves the most blame for the Browns' struggles this season?
The quarterback. I mean, when your quarterback plays like a bottom 5 passer over the course of an entire season, which is what we're talking about, you can't compete in the NFL. And I understand that injury played a large role in that, but the question is not, what will Baker Mayfield be going forward? He definitely has the capacity to rebound from this season, but if we're looking at what the Browns accomplished or failed to accomplish this year, I really don't see how you can blame anyone else over the course of an entire season in which he finished in the bottom of the NFL in just about every possible metric, at the top in interceptions and sacks, damningly at the bottom, by the way, when passing from a clean pocket, and at the bottom before week 6 when he took the week off. So, I understand some of the frustration with Kevin Stefanski's play calling last night. Perhaps people wanted more runs. The running back was injured. It was a meaningless game. But to blame the coach instead of the quarterback for this season, it's like blaming the driver of a car when the engine explodes. I just don't see how Kevin Stefanski could have changed anything when you're getting that level of quarterback play this year.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm with you, but he had a backup engine. Like, Baker was injured and playing poorly when he was injured. Like, the idea that he kept putting Baker back out there and he kept running the same things that weren't working, to me, Baker is a football player, and he seems to be one who's very competitive and also very cocky. And it seemed to me, I got the feeling that the organization was letting Baker play as long as Baker said he could play, when all of our eyes were telling us Baker can't play right now. And
can't do it
because of his talent, but also I think that his injuries had something to do with it. So, I blame Stefanski for partially for that, for continuing to trot that guy out there with a bad ankle and a bad shoulder.
Yeah, I guess.
And listen, I agree with you, Fox.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, Mina, I agree. Mayfield did not play well. I'm not making any excuse for how poorly he played. Injured in week 2, we all understood how severe the injury was. And when you saw no progression and your quarterback not getting better, for Stefanski, your job is to put the best 11 out there. Yeah. If that's Keenum, if that's another avenue, however you have to go, it's not just about play calling. It's about the setup. He sees practice each and every day. If he's not capable of practicing, or he's not practicing well, or it doesn't look good, at some point you got to make a shift to give your team the best chance to get to the playoffs. And listen, this roster was loaded, and they had plenty of talent to get things done. If one position in particular, and I think we all agree, Mayfield is an average to maybe slightly average quarterback. It's not like an enormous loss to go to your backup if the defense pulled their weight. I think this was an organizational failure, in my opinion. I don't think you put it on one guy, but if I would put it on the coach, because he has to make the decision to move on from Mayfield, let him get healthy, and put somebody else in to possibly make the playoffs.
So I totally agree that Case Keenum should have played. Where I disagree is the notion that we're going to put this on Stefanski, because, Jeff, Dominique, y'all have been around the NFL. You know the decision to sit a number 1 overall draft pick often does not lie with the head coach. It's a decision that tends to go up to ownership, to the front office. And look, if Kevin Stefanski did make that decision and he was the one pushing Baker out there, or pardon me, agreeing with Baker, because we know Baker wanted to play, then he does deserve criticism. But I am suspicious, just based on everything I've seen from this league for many, many years, that was all up to Kevin Stefanski.
I still think it falls on Kevin Stefanski. So what we're not going to do, I'm not going to allow you to criticize Andrew Berry. He's the only one in the whole organization who's done a good job. That roster is impressive. He's the only one that's done a good job. So it suggests to me that he would not also say, Baker, go out there and play. Maybe it's on the ownership, but you can't change the ownership. That falls on Stefanski. Not only do you have to manage down to your assistant coaches and your players, you also have to learn how to manage up to the ownership. That's your job. Your job is to figure out what the best thing is for your team and get people in line of doing that. Baker's job is to go play. It's not his job to assess his own performance or his health. So I think it falls on Stefanski still.
I'll throw out one positive for Browns fans, I think. Going into the season, I think it actually would have been a worse outcome to get average play from Baker Mayfield and sign an extension. And look, we're talking about how they should have benched him and played Case Keenum. But realistically, if they had done that, maybe a first round out in the playoffs. Like, come on. It's not like, some excellent prospect was sitting behind Baker Mayfield. We're talking about tweaking at the margins here and maybe pulling out 1 or 2 more wins. Now they know, candidly, what they have going forward. And for both Stefanski, who perhaps didn't have the juice to sit as number 1 overall draft pick, we don't know, and Andrew Berry, they have the information that they need to fix this football team.
So, Mina, being the fact that the organization now knows what they have in Baker Mayfield, do you think that he should return as the Browns starter next season?
Oh, they already picked up the option. I think they need to bring in real competition. Like the injury obviously factored into his poor play. We don't know to what extent, but it wasn't like he was a world destroyer before then. I think you can see how he looks after recovering from that surgery, but I also think this team needs to be aggressive about bringing on a realistic competitor, not just Case Keenum, someone in the draft, or pursue one of the high-end quarterbacks available in the trade market, because this roster is too good to waste on another season like this.
Yeah, I agree with that on Mina. I mean, I would say this: you got to go if you're going to do it. You got to go big. I mean, I think you go for Russell Wilson. I think you go for an Aaron Rodgers if he's available, a Deshaun Watson if everything else off the field gets cleared up. I mean, when you look at that, you have to go big. Otherwise, I think Baker is your starter. I don't think you can draft somebody who's going to be better than him in 1 year, and I'm not sure you can go get, to your point, somebody who's kind of on par with him and expect a huge difference. This roster, in my opinion, is very solid. I think they've made a lot of progress in the last year or two. I think they can continue with that, but I'm with you. I think you either go wholesale change or you bring Baker back for 1 year and try to bolster the roster around him because he's still pretty cheap.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.